Hello,
Hello,
hello.
hello.
I'm Megan,
I'm Matt.
and you are watching The
The
Night
Night
Owl. I want to check in with my partner in crime. How are you today, Matthew?
Yeah, we're going through it. It's a Friday, right? Lucky, lucky.
Yeah, I almost forget, like, when Friday rolls around, that I'm like, oh shit, we have to do our podcast today, because we were so used to last year. I know this marks the anniversary of the pandemic, and last year we did an episode almost 4 days a week, every week. So now when it's 1 day or 2 days a week, it's kind of like, oh shit, like we kind of forget because we have other things we have to do and running around. Or it's not that I don't forget, it's just a lot in one day.
It's been about a little over a year since we started this.
Yeah.
Almost kind of venturing into.
And now that we're doing the video, I think it's nice to be able to do that in a company to
as we
the
keep kind of adding and additional wrinkles to as we kind of explore. And again, we love talking about the nightlife, music, art, and
in life. Yeah. And I think also I would like to this summer, especially before Pride, to maybe do a couple, maybe 2 a week instead of one. Maybe just do a recording for 1 day and then do a live video. I always try to say Fridays would be our live video nights, because that's when everyone's online. And I know things have been crazy with Biden and a lot of drama with Congress and politics. And I don't really want to talk about that today because it's so stressful. So I figured we would make this episode about celebrities. And trigger warning, it is about very adult issues, some may containing sexual assault or grooming or just inappropriate behavior. So if you guys want to sign off, you can. We will not be upset, but it's definitely more of an adult episode, a little darker. Our last episode that I posted was about, like woolly mammoths and like sciencey stuff. So I do try to say in every episode that we do talk about an array of topics, not just rainbows and sunshine, but sometimes dark stuff. And it's okay. It's okay to talk about difficult things.
Not always so easy. It's not always flowers and sausages, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There is evil out there. I mean, true evil. Not that that's what we're going to talk about today, but this is, that there were a lot of these topics I think we'll get into have words and comments that would be considered triggering for people that have had those events. So
yes, and even if we haven't been through those things, we understand, from friends and just hearing every side of the story, what it would be like.
Some of the awesome part about exploring and as we've kind of reached out to friends and having them open up and share their experiences, good, bad, and otherwise. And
it's good to acknowledge that, even if you've never been a victim or survivor of anything like that.
But know that too, when we talk about celebrity here as well, that it's not gospel. We don't necessarily know for sure. It's just
Matt and I only gossip.
It's just our kind of opinion, and
we only gossip behind closed doors.
Yeah,
we don't try to spread too much of our opinion to other people, because I can say my asshole things to him about a topic and he can turn around and say his opinion, and we won't get upset. Whereas if I do voice some things to people, I don't know how their reaction will be. So we'll try to talk about these topics in the best way we can and not sound like complete jerks. So, okay. So I also have noticed that you guys have been still sending emails about, your stories about, the pandemic. And I say, keep them coming. Just one person had wrote about their experience with someone that they had just started dating before the pandemic happened, and they had moved in with them, and their story of that. So I will definitely share that next week. I'll have to read it ahead of time so I can kind of comprehend it and read it to you guys. I might even have Matt read it. I know the last time you read that last one was pretty interesting.
We're no experts, but we definitely can throw our 2 cents in there. And again, it's about sharing our experiences, your experiences. That's why we love our guests. We love their experiences. And again, keep the comments, the questions, everything coming.
Yeah,
because we like doing this, and we like
knowing about people.
We like knowing about people.
Yeah, it's important to stay connected.
It sounds like you like knowing about people. So
sounds like you want us to know about people.
And you want to know about people.
Some of them were really cool. Like I'm still gonna keep doing the questions on our Facebook that make people think. I really love hearing responses from that. And yeah. So chock full of stuff coming. I know we definitely want to do something for Pride. A couple stories for that, because I think we got a lot of listens last June for all of our LGBTQ themed episodes.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting to see, especially. I know you didn't really want to get to, but it sounds like July 1st is a potential. Yay!
Everything's starting. Yeah, they're going to push it to July instead of June. Okay. Well, I'm hoping that this year.
Well, I don't know about the Pride Parade. As far as I know, I don't even know if it's on.
I mean, I'm hoping they'll do a march, because last year they did a march, and I think that was way more. I think it took in a lot more credit and respect, because
and the landscape.
It wasn't. Well, yeah, it was because of Black Lives Matter. It was right after that, and I think. Even though we appreciate that there are companies out there that do advertise that are LGBTQ friendly and friends and allies, like it's gotten a little corporate. And I think seeing the march really made it more about the cause and equal rights and about the actual real reason why gay pride should be a thing, and why all those people that feel like they're underdogs and feel like they're disrespected, they were shining. And they also did talk about everything else. It wasn't just LGBTQ, it was women's rights, it was Black Lives Matter, it was all this mishmash of stuff. And I'm really upset I didn't get to go, because I had to go to a project. So hopefully this year I can capture some stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting on to the topic, I wanted to talk specifically about Sia and Maddie Ziegler.
Do we know who Sia is then? I mean, maybe there are some people who don't necessarily know this.
Well, this is Sia and Maddie. So you guys remember Maddie was actually in the show called Dance Moms.
Dance Moms, right? Yes. That was featured on TLC. If you don't remember, right, who was the Abby, who'd been in the news quite a bit for a variety of things, right?
Verbal abuse, tax
evasion, going to jail, surviving cancer, I think. She had this show, and so this was one
Maddie was the star, like, dancer. She was the one that she was in Abby's mouth every episode. All the moms, Abby pretty much pressured all the girls to be like her. She was the star dancer, and I guess Matt said JoJo Siwa was also on the show. But when she was on Dance Mom, she was about 10 or 11. I think they were all in middle school. And Sia saw her, and probably saw her on the show, or, saw her in that kind of they're in that same industry. And I remember it said that she tweeted directly to Maddie when she was that young, didn't go through her agent, didn't go through a lawyer, didn't go through the normal channels of like collaborating with another artist.
Is a pop singer. Is that what we?
She wrote Chandelier. Yeah, she was
from Australia.
And what I remember, my first memory of Sia is when she was on SNL. When she performed on SNL with Maddie, they wore those wigs. Those
I didn't
outfits.
Realize that. Yeah,
was Maddie.
Was that? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Now, from our last episode. This was our other episode, Hello Ego, My Old Friend. This was about when she did the music.
We've spoken about her before, right?
That was back in December.
She made a movie, and there were a lot of critics
about
because
autism,
it was about autism, and a lot of people were like, "This isn't."
Yeah, this isn't right.
This isn't right.
Yeah, I mean, she had so many opportunities to like. Yeah, she had so many opportunities and so much money to like make this right and make it happen. I mean, she's no Steven Spielberg, but she could have definitely used her resources and her privilege to being an artist, being a celebrity, to make a proper movie. Well, she tweeted to Maddie when she was young, "Hey, do you want to play me in a music video called Chandelier?" So Maddie was going to be a young version of Sia in this story of this. I don't even know what Chandelier was about, but I'm guessing it was something that Sia had gone through in her life, She saw Maddie. Maddie kind of looks like her.
Yeah, this is a song with her booming voice hitting the radio.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, right, it was on, she performed it on SNL.
Yeah, and before that, Sia had never shown her face. I mean, this picture is the closest to what they had shown her face. Then she started showing her face.
Only probably
remember,
recently,
she never showed her face
that's
at that
part
time.
Of her stick, right?
That was part of her thing. She didn't want people to see her. She wanted people to hear her voice, which I respected. And I really liked that because she was fresh. It was different. She was from Australia. So like for me, like British or like Australian singers and actors are always I love BBC. I love that kind of stuff. So for me, it's kind of interesting to see how other people on the other side of the world do it. And so, you know, obviously Maddie was like, cool, this is awesome. I'll totally work with you. And from then her career just skyrocketed. You know, she ended up being in a movie with Shia LaBeouf that Ziegler had made or directed. And, you know, from there on, it kind of got weird because like, well, this is the timeline. Okay. So when she was young, you know, Maddie kind of kept her in like close. She kind of kept her close.
Like how old was she when she was in the video?
She was about 12 because I think she was because she was 12 or 13 when she was in that movie with Shia LaBeouf. And then, you know, when she turned to be 16, Sia had bought her a car. And it was very strange just because at the time she was wearing a nude uniform, like nude. She was like 11 years old wearing a nude uniform in this music video with Shia LaBeouf, who was then in his 20s. Like, and she said Shia LaBeouf made her feel very uncomfortable. And she just didn't, I mean, this young girl who was basically on TV and in this kind of reality, you could see, if you watch the show, none of the moms on Dance Moms are very supportive of their children. They are all helicopter moms. They all want clout. They all want their kids to be the best. I mean, you know that mom. They're living in a fantasy world. They're right there with the tier moms.
Their kids. Yeah, they're not exactly, I would say, the most outstanding parental figures.
Yeah, so she was in she's been in basically a lot of Sia's music videos, okay? So then when she got older, she was making more money. She was collaborating more. This is her in the nude outfit. I mean, I guess because she was quirky and different, you know, that's the thing. But I think it said that Sia started to kind of gift her with things that said sister, which Sia was 27. I think they're about 17 years apart. So I can't think of a kid that much younger than me as my sister, especially when they're not even related to me. Like, I never call any of my friends' kids my sisters. Like, I'll say I'm your auntie, but that's as far as it goes. If I'm giving a gift to a child, it's their birthday, and I know their mom
we've
or
talked
their dad.
About this, you know,
there's boundaries
on air and off air. You know, it's just, to us, it's very foreign or weird that an adult would have
a relationship with a child.
Kind of a relationship with a child, that almost childlike relationship with another child when you yourself are an adult. You know, you're not acting like an adult with the kid sometimes, but sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. It to me, it gets confusing, and there should be boundaries, and it just seems like these boundaries get really blurred in these incidences. And not that maybe something nefarious is going on, but it does beg the question, and it probably does. That question should be asked, and I'm not sure the right people are asking the right questions. This doesn't seem like a proper relationship, but...
Well, here, this is what Ziegler's mom said, okay? So this is Maddie Ziegler's mom, Melissa Chisoni, revealed that Sia would snuggle with her daughter. So, like, apparently Sia and Maddie had actually admitted in an interview that she would spend more time with Sia at her house when she was a young kid than she would with her own parents.
Yeah, you mentioned they would spend weekends or nights, or at least overnights.
and I can see, like, okay, let's just say it's okay. Let's just say that you're that parent that says, okay, this is your boss. Like, you can spend the night with them. They're your mentor. Maybe you like working on projects. for one thing, kids have curfew. I don't care if they're celebrities. They still have, like Demi Lovato, like a lot of those kids that said when they were on set or they still had curfews. They still had tutors. Like they weren't just like hanging out with their bosses at work or at their house. But let's just say that's okay. Maddie still slept in the bed with Sia. She didn't have her own wing. She didn't have her own room, like a guest room.
I mean, and that's what's alleged in this article,
that's
right?
Weird.
And that's what apparently, right, the mom says, and that's
the
what
mom
Maddie
says.
States this
she
as well.
said Ziegler was 12 when she slept in Sia's bed on more than one occasion. The mom said, they're like sisters. I love how they snuggle together.
Now, like I said earlier when you discussed this with me, if you just take this out of the celebrity context and just say, here you have a 27-year-old woman sleeping in bed with someone who she's not related to.
I don't care if you're her mom or her sister.
With a 12-year-old kid.
Sia, aren't you a celebrity? Don't you have like a guest house? Like, how big is your house that you can't say, hey, Maddie, you know, it's late. You can stay tonight.
Maybe I can see their circumstances.
Where
right?
were they
you
even?
Get scared. There are people attacking you. I don't know. You're a 12-year-old.
Matthew, look at my face.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I mean,
that's with her own mother, though. You don't do that with a stranger. Like I've only been in my mom's bed when I was older because yes, there was a giant storm going on, right? I was terrified, but I was like 8 or 9 years old. But then you kind of learn that you just have to self-soothe.
I mean,
and like
I can tell you this,
you don't do that with a stranger.
As a 12-year-old or 13-year-old boy, I would have been mortified
if you had to go to someone's bed.
Some 27-year-old would have been like, climb in bed with me.
Well, we don't know how it happened. We just know that maybe they were already okay with it. Maddie was like, maybe Maddie felt comfortable enough to do that. I'm not saying Maddie didn't feel comfortable, but she still can't consent to be with an adult in a bed with her. There's nothing that you should.
And then I could say this as a 27-year-old, there is no flipping way. I don't even care if they're blood related. No.
If they're kids, yes, like
maybe
our
nephew, get really scared.
Our nephews and nieces, they're older now. Like our nephew's 10 years old. There's no way I'd be like, hey Walker, why don't you get in bed with me? Like that's weird. It's just weird. Yeah. And he's my nephew by marriage. He's actually Matt's blood. But like I said, unless they were literally they peed the bed or they were like scared or there was like something happened, you usually end up putting them back in their bed.
Yeah. You
don't like just say sleep in my bed. Like if they're little kids.
And I'm sorry for me. I mean, this strikes of another certain pop star and kids in beds and
everyone was all over Michael Jackson for it. And I'm not saying that what he did was right, but because she's a woman and I just think it's weird. I just think it's strange. And I was telling Matthew when I talked about this, I said, there are many hats that people wear every day, right? Like a typical day, you wear your work hat, you wear your parent hat, your sister, you're a creative, whatever it is. You wear multiple hats every day. But if you're someone's mentor and you're their boss, like you're actually paying them and you're their mentor, you should not have them at your house. You should not have them at your house. You should not be buying them cars. Is the car a tax write-off? Is the car for work? Like, why didn't her parents get her a car? She was already a celebrity on Dance Moms. She already had her own money. So, like, her mom could have given her a car easily. So I don't know. It doesn't say like.
No, we don't know that, but
it doesn't say the details about her relationship with her mother.
What is this related? You're giving her a car?
Yeah. Is Maddie's mom not a good mom? Does she not like her mom? I don't know much about if she has siblings or if she lives with her dad. But I mean, if you guys watch the show, all the moms on Dance Moms are terrible. They're all awful. And Maddie seems to be verbally accused when she messes up, but all the other girls are very much abused by Abby verbally to be like her. I mean, Maddie, there's a lot of pressure when someone thinks you're the star and they put you on a pedestal. Not everyone likes that attention, especially as a child. Like it's very stressful. Like there were times when Maddie Ziegler said that she cried on that show, and I've seen her cry, like because there was so much pressure on her.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a pressure cooker. Again, I'm not exactly certain why there's programming like that on TV.
Well, I guess it's for people to learn what sociopaths are.
Yeah, I don't know. It's on the
honestly,
Learning Channel, so.
And Maddie did praise Sia about being in the movie she made, and she didn't think that she had any bad intentions, and I don't know. I mean, I'll definitely add this to the comments if you guys want to read more of this, because it's a very, very long article, but it does go into Sia's behavior, how she reacted when people were talking about her movie. And
we talked about that. I mean, again, that didn't go over well with her. I mean, but again, to each their own with their opinions. But it does seem like expert-wise and those in the know that are around at least autism and otherwise have strong opinions and not very good ones.
And I guess, and at the end of the article, I mean, Maddie does say that she's Sia's technically like her godmom. And so I think, maybe we could step back and think maybe that the media has blown it up to be something it's not, because we haven't heard from her mother. Maybe Sia and her mother had an arrangement where Sia could spend time with Maddie, because Maddie was always working. Maybe the mom didn't want Maddie around all the time. Maybe it was better for her. Which is what I'm guessing, that her mom was probably not married, or maybe there wasn't a father figure. Maybe there wasn't a lot for the mom to be able to do in order to take care of Maddie. So I think there could be that godmom mentality where, Maddie had literally said, she's like my godmom, and she, I really look up to her, and that's great. But I just think it's a little strange that she was so young, and that Sia kind of kept all these other opportunities for Maddie to be able to have. Now Maddie is doing makeup on YouTube. She's, doing other things right now. But I think that being that controlling and having that much control over a minor, I want to see some receipts. I want to see some paperwork. Like I said, maybe we're blowing it out of proportion. Maybe I'm just believing what the media has said, but it seems like I've seen this on multiple platforms that I know are very reliable. I mean, they're not slanderous or drama.
If anything, these last few years, this has been the year of discovering. I mean, I'll put it, although very lightly, inappropriate relationships between adults and children.
Although I will say that Sia did protect Maddie from getting on a plane with Harvey Weinstein before he was arrested. So, I mean, there's that. I mean, she did protect her from Harvey, because Harvey wanted her to fly with him somewhere. So that's okay. That's good. But I mean, Maddie could probably kick that guy in the face. He was pretty old.
Yeah, he definitely has. Yeah, gotten decrepit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's you could blow on him and he'd fall over. Leave some comments of what you guys think about this, because obviously, we could just be blowing out of proportion. I could just be believing stuff that doesn't matter. But I just thought it was interesting, because Sia's just been blowing up since last year, since December, with her weird racist bullying that she's been doing, and her terrible movie, and just, it's a lot. Sia, make it make sense, please. Make it make sense. So moving on, what was the next topic? More. This is the disclaimer right here, so just be aware. It's going to get a little bit heavier, but we apologize.
I guess critiquing, and this is also, again, another disclaimer here. Again, based on what I've been seeing in the news and otherwise, I was kind of curious, as artist-wise, we've seen the Harrises start to come in. And who are the Harrises? Maybe the Harrises better as T.I, a rapper from Atlanta, an actor, who is known infamously going to federal prison on kind of weapons and drug charges, and then currently has a show on VH1 with his wife. T.I and Tiny Friends and Family Hustle on VH1. It's kind of them giving you life experiences and talking about their life. And Tiny is his wife, Tamika Harris. She also has her own claim to fame. I mean, she helped write No Scrubs. T.I, I mean, they're all Atlanta music, I would say, royalty. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Movie-wise and otherwise, he comes across pretty mild manner. His wife is nicknamed Tiny because she's a very diminutive person. But in the news, I saw this a while ago, a couple months ago, And it kind of struck me as, well, that's odd that he and his wife were accused of some horrible acts against a woman.
Hmm.
And then I saw another story. And then I see another story. Now I see it's up to a dozen people that have now come forward accusing T.I and his wife Tiny of these horrendous acts. Anyway, they're accused of basically, in particular, and most of the articles are about a lawyer, again, a Tyrone Blackburn, who is representing it. And some of these go back almost 10 plus years as far as the accusations and when these occurred. One of them happens to be this kind of Air Force veteran. And it's kind of like all coming to the surface for some of these victims now as now they kind of are looking for retribution, or at least looking to get the word out. And I always I didn't know too much about him, but as again, maybe it's because here this past summer, T.I was in the news. He was seen up on stage with the mayor of Atlanta, supporting the Black Lives Matter movement and all of that. But now here, as of recently, as of like kind of January and February, a lot of these accusations have bubbled to the surface. And I mean, again, they're pretty egregious. They're very, I don't know if a lot of you remember kind of some of the R. Kelly stuff around here, but they're, I would say, on par with that. Some of it, I mean, it's disgusting.
I mean, I never saw him. It's just so weird. It's like, that's the thing. It's like you said, this is the age of like seeing people for who they really are, and just like, especially with, dare I say, Marilyn Manson and a couple other people. Yeah,
I mean, you
don't even realize.
People and then are flexing, and I don't know what it is, but it does sound like not the kind of category, but flexing their celebrity muscles, and I can do whatever I want because I'm a celebrity.
But like, that's doing whatever you want. Is like trashing a hotel room. Like,
no, that's what it used to be.
You know what I mean?
Now I would say it's dominating and
I don't know. It's just so strange that like people think that doing criminal acts is okay because you have power and clout and money. Like, sometimes no amount of money is going to make that go away. Not everyone's O.J. Simpson, and even he screwed up his career because he went and
just to kind of add to it, it is kind of curious. So back in January of this year, T.I sent out this on Instagram, and this is kind of before a lot of these stories started to hit, right? They started to hit in February. And
you don't even use Instagram. How are you getting Instagram stuff?
I got this off a story here. So he said, unfortunately, right now, it doesn't matter as much what they can prove you did. It matters what you can prove you didn't. That's what he said. I want to be clear about one thing. Women who have been victimized deserve to be heard. Women, Black women in particular, should be supported, protected, defended, and uplifted. However, evil has no gender. People with evil intentions have no gender. A threat comes in all shapes and sizes. He seemed to foreshadow a potential court defense, saying he would not open the door to my bedroom, he added. Whatever we have ever done has been with consensual adults who into what we into and like what we like. We want something, we know exactly where to get it.
What does that mean? That's a little it's just not, we're not talking about ice cream flavors, man. We're talking about like people and their emotions and their feelings and how they like, I mean, okay, so like I did not think this, I'm not saying that I'm not a supporter of, people who are survivors. I don't say victims, I say survivors because you survived it. I'm not saying that. When Matt first told me that, I was very shocked because I was like, I'm like, are they even relevant? First of all. And then I realized, Amber Heard came out years ago with her allegations with Johnny Depp, and it turned out to be false. And most of the time, the survivors are real. They're telling the truth. It happened. And sometimes it happens after 20 years,
Well, and like I said...
At first, I was like, "What?"
I think that's a good point there too that you bring up.
Someone just wants
between that. It is just between those two, and I've always my own little philosophy on some of these things when they kind of be celebrity based or otherwise is when there's one accusation, especially when a
When
celebrity
there's
is
smoke, there's
involved.
fire, like you said.
When there's one, there could be just a story, and it could be 100% fabricated. When you start to get 2 to 3, now that's a pattern to a trend, and you start to get more than that. It's hard to fathom because you could figure 2 or 3 people could get together and come up with a story and patch things together and say, okay, here's the plan. We're going to hoodwink you.
We've seen it on an episode of Sunny.
When you get up to a dozen people, and this one lawyer is representing 2 separate people who he claims they do not know each other, but they both came in with pretty much the same story.
Same story, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of exactly how the R. Kelly thing went down, right? Some of these women, some of these they were
actually brainwashed.
Some of these family members of some of these women started pushing these women forward, and all of a sudden, all these stories started to go, "Oh, these sound like."
Well, because they were just going to let it go. They were just going to let it go. They didn't want to talk about it, and again, like you can't really. It's hard for survivors to come forward and
that's what kind of part of this
relive that.
Was,
they're reliving it.
Sounds like a really difficult why it has taken so long is if this is true and kind of what is consistent with some of these horrific stories. It takes a long time. I mean, because again, especially when you're dealing with powerful people, you just don't know. I mean,
we've seen on SVU, you know, where the survivors are like, I don't want to say anything. They have to relive that whole experience, and sometimes it's what Mariska always says. Mariska always says it's like, we have to do this so we can protect other people so they don't do this again. You know.
Again, I have not ever worked in that capacity, but as somebody who anecdotally has had conversations with, I would say, people who have been in it at that time, you would think very smart people, how could we not recognize, or how could they not recognize the situation that they're in, that this is really that bad? Of course, I'm not saying
But sometimes they know it's that bad. They're scared.
And sometimes it's just really hard mentally. Now, for some of these situations here, this is absolutely, it just sounds like, again,
that they were threatening these people not to say anything. I mean, most of the time that's what it is.
VH1 has suspended their show.
Well, wow, it's really going to affect
until they can sort some of these allegations out.
That's really gonna affect their money.
But
you know what I mean? They're still going to be, what are they, millionaires?
Oh, they're at least millionaires.
They're still millionaires. Okay, I mean, I could go on and on with the list of predators that are on the internet in the industry who have taken years and years to be able to be deplatformed, not have sponsors anymore, not have this and that. But it takes so much time. Like going back to Marilyn Manson, I was telling Matthew, his manager of 20 years dropped him, right? There's no way that person's innocent too. So whoever is helping or knows about this, about people that are doing this kind of stuff, they need to speak up too.
No, I mean,
because they will be implicated. They should be implicated. Silence is violence. You are letting this happen. You're part of the problem. It's just like with foster care. You know, people that see these kids being abused or being hurt, and they don't say anything. And if they do, they don't do anything. It's like you're part of the problem. So it's kind of heartbreaking to hear these stories about celebrities doing this kind of stuff with maybe some weird friendships like Sia and Maddie to like with T.I, with like where it's very
because
horrendous.
In all these cases, both these celebrities that we brought up, right, it's
very questionable.
The negative stories are questionable, but there are positive stories. I mean, both those celebrities have done positive things.
But that all gets erased. I mean, in my opinion, it gets erased. Everything good that you've done gets erased. When I can't speak for Sia. Sia is on her own thing. I can't put her in the same category. And Maddie seems to be okay. She doesn't seem to be traumatized. They have a good relationship. But from an outsider standpoint, it's weird. And maybe like we're not celebrities. Maybe we think it's weird because we're not in that boat.
There may not be nothing absolutely nefarious or wrong. Or
but everything with SA, with that's wrong. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity, if you're rich, if you're poor. It's still
that's absolutely
So I'm definitely going to put some links down here for hotlines and for any kind of support organizations that you guys can go to if you or someone you know is being abused or has been in a situation like that, because it all starts with either from grooming to like the actual acts of assault. And I don't want you guys to feel like you can't speak up, you can't say anything about it. I know this quarantine's been really hard for people that were in those kind of situations, who are trapped with people that were abusing them verbally or physically. So I know that I'm kind of mentioning this right now. I didn't have that prepared to say, but I figured that would be kind of a good thing to have for the podcast, for you guys to realize that we do care about this kind of stuff. And I hate celebrities. I really don't like talking about them. But I think when we talk about things that have to do with real life and that relate to people in real life,
people build these people up to be,
they're just like us.
Again, and just letting you know, really, I mean, they're everyday and they are like us.
Like People says, right? They're just like us.
Instead of being like People or Us magazine and showing you,
how they do their own laundry.
They do their own laundry.
They eat their own food.
We're kind of showing you that
they also do other shit too.
Just like other stuff.
Yeah, they also do terrible things too. But on that note, obviously we will talk about more topics. I think I would definitely want to talk about a possible, I think there's a marijuana lounge that's going to be coming to Chicago, which I heard is very exciting. So that would be kind of interesting to talk about that. And if they are going to be open for the public, I would love to be able to go with Matthew and check it out and kind of talk about our experience.
More of the COVID sanctions.
Yeah, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for that. And then also, I'm waiting patiently for my vaccine. I know Matthew is waiting for his, so we're definitely going to try and do that as soon as we can. And we will take some selfies and post them on our Facebook page, so you guys can see that we are trying to keep the motion going of staying healthy, getting healthy, and not spreading this deadly virus. And so we wanted to let you guys know that we love you. We want you to stay happy, stay healthy, and wear a goddamn mask. I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're watching The Night Owl.